So on my vlog today, I'm going to talk about California's wineries opening, as well as restaurant closures and some milestones I'm going to be making on my channel this summer. So stay tuned and I'll tell you about each of these subjects. Spectacular wine, which I very much enjoy about this wine, and of course I speak accolades about this wine in terms of the video, but just the colorization. And color does affect the palate characterization. It's absolutely beautiful, luminous, glorious, and captivating. Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir. And so I think it's absolutely a fantastic one. So my first opportunity to leave the city was in mid-June. So you really just sticking around my household, sticking around my neighborhood, and being in San Francisco was, something I needed to get out of the city and to enjoy several wineries. And so it was very nice to get that. Now, all of a sudden, we had this situation where there was stage 2A in California. And stage 2A was really saying that restaurants could open, but wineries could not. And the strange part about that was, so food is a priority and wine is not. And ultimately what came from that is a lot of backlash from producers. And rightly so. It's not that I always pick the side of the producer, but I think sometimes they just were speaking in terms of their business needs, not just for business needs, but also to do it responsibly. I don't know a single tasting room or winery operator that's going to say, let's open up carelessly. No one's going to do that, and for a lot of great reasons. And I think, to me, the reason that was so slowed down was that California has so many stages, 1, 2, 3, and A, B, C, D, and every single time that there's something that we reach an anniversary, it's good for the rest of the state, but not for San Francisco. So this particular situation was where Chuck Wagner of Camus sued the state of California, withdrew his particular lawsuit because finally the governor agreed to openings for wineries, and it was long overdue. It was summertime, people were getting antsy, wanting to go about. And so I did my first, actually stopped at 4 different wineries. And of course, reservations were needed, but one particular winery experience was only for wine club members. I'm not a wine club member of that particular producer, but it was actually one where I thought was actually pretty uninteresting and unfortunate. Maybe that was because it was their first weekend open. So the staff weren't particularly friendly or engaging. The wines were, very, very limited menu. There was only one particular food item you could order, cheese plate, and that was it. They normally have more food. And so that was really a very disappointing experience. And part of it's like, yes, I get that wineries are having a hard time opening. It's new to them. And the staff are trying to figure out what to do and how to do it correctly. Totally get that. But, I did go to other producers where, I was welcomed. So it was a 180-degree difference. So all these producers were transparent. One producer, in fact, said to me, we think we're opening correctly. We're not really sure this is exactly what we should be doing. The guidelines weren't completely cohesive that we received. We think we're doing the right thing. And part of it was like, yeah, I think you're doing the right thing. There's a lot of safety that every single producer, every single wine tasting room winery did to make their customers feel safe and welcome. And I think, they were working very hard. I acknowledged that. I told them that I thought they were doing a great job. It's not just to give an anointment necessarily, but just to really talk to people. And sometimes it's the person-to-person experience that really helps out for a lot. So I'm glad things are open. I think if people continue on this trend and do it safely, and like in San Francisco, it's a very night and day difference. I had not been out of the city for 3 months, a record for me. And, something I really needed to get out and see Napa County. I was prepared just to go to one winery, but instead I got to go to 3 or 4 in total. And so it was a fantastic way of putting foot on ground, getting out of the house, getting some vitamin D, and getting some warmer temperatures. Wine country is still beautiful and wonderful to visit. So when I think about the city of San Francisco, it's looking completely different. It is a city that, even though that we're in phase 2B, I think, I'm not really stage 2B, not sure where we are exactly. And I think ultimately, if you look at the city where bars are allowed to be open, restaurants are allowed to be open, as long as it's an open space or outdoor space. And, it doesn't feel like walking in my neighborhood. It feels exactly like the way it did in March 19 of this year. So everything feels exactly the same as it did 3 months ago. I got news that Walzwerk, one of my favorite German restaurants, is closing down after 20 plus years. of operation in the city. Christiane Schmidt, fantastic. She actually was from the former East Germany, comes to San Francisco, creates that restaurant, including another restaurant called Schmidt's. And unfortunately, Schmidt's closed down, I would say, a year and a half to 2 years ago. And very sad. I think it's just immensely hard to run a restaurant operation in the city of San Francisco. And I'm afraid what we're going to be left with are only chain restaurants, national chain restaurants. I think the case is having to do with landlords who do not want to lower their rents. Rents are unrealistic, given the situation where somebody can only produce maybe 25% of the dollars they could normally produce, even with takeout service. It's a challenging business to be in. So I definitely expect San Francisco, after some post-coronavirus situation, is going to be a markedly different city. People are leaving the city, as far as I understand. I do not know the exact numbers, but I definitely can see that happening simply because prices are not decreasing. Rents are not decreasing for people wanting to rent and live here. And so I don't see any of that happening anytime soon. Hence, I think people will choose a different city to live in as long as they can work from home. So I just wanted to do this particular vlog style because I don't want to just talk about bottle review, bottle review, bottle review. I wanted to do something else. So in addition to that, this summer in my brand, James the Wine Guy, on my YouTube channel, I'm going to be celebrating my 500,000 click. Now, in terms of the YouTube world, that's not a big number. And some people hit that with one video. But when it comes to the wine world, it's very hard to get those clicks. It's hard to keep going after a period of time. And a lot of people do give up. So I see people in the 10 to 20,000 click rate, and they've just have given up altogether. I think that's unfortunate. I think that there's still a viewer out there who's still looking for wine content, just can't find it because the wine content doesn't exist. While there's been an uplift in brands in, say, about 2015 onward, there's still not enough coverage in terms of all the labels that people want to know about. It's also, very, very intuitive, where while I do have a growing subscription base, thank you so much for watching, by the way, is that I think people are, seeking out brands they know. And sometimes along the way, people will say, hey, that sounds intriguing. Where can I get this wine? So I do pick up people along the way to talk about the journey. And so it's a very expansive subject matter. So I'm very glad I hit 500,000 hits. And I'll be celebrating this summer my 3,000th video, which is something I didn't really plan on. I didn't say strategically this year in 2020, I've got to get to 3,000 videos. It just happened. And that's okay. I decided to take a viewpoint of producing my videos without a specific number target. That's fine. But also optimizing my click rate in terms of what people are watching and posting those in places that people might watch. I've written a lot about wine and video, and some producers, I've spoken about this in Virginia, for example, where I think people need to take an active view in terms of, at least from the producer or brand point of view, producing wine videos. It's not just a one-time deal. So create the video and people will come. That's not necessarily how it works. It's really find opportune times to rebroadcast your video in case there's a viewer out there who has not seen that video. It's really about marketing. So, just wanted to give a quick update. I hope this video finds you well, and that in your particular place, things are opening up just a little bit, just to give, maybe that walk or that experience. Or, for me, I haven't eaten in a restaurant since March of this year. So I'm trying to decide where I'm going to do some takeout and do some takeout food, because I'm very, very interested in eating someone else's cooking. Yes, I love my cooking, but I definitely want to appreciate other people's cooking as well. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. So between videos, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and WordPress. And you'll find me on my podcasts, which are on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Thank you for watching. I hope your summer's going well. So questions and comments down below. That's where the like button is. That's where the subscribe button is. So thank you so much for watching today. I'll see you in the next video. Santé.